Tariffs, stock market up and down, unemployment, employment, a lot of uncertainty right now. What happened in April 2025 in the real estate market? Four markets we cover: St. Louis County, St. Charles County, St. Louis City, Northern Jefferson County. Let's start with interest rates. Interest rates are in the high sixes right now. They fluctuated, but they're really in that high six, which is really unusual in the economic uncertainty we're seeing today. Because remember, bad economic news, good for interest rates. The unusual part today is the economic news has not forced them over to the bond market, which then has reduced yields. No, yields have had to increase to motivate buyers to get in to the bond market. So what's happened is interest rates continue to go up. We're about 6 3/4 or so. Don't project those to really change much over the next few months. So what the heck happened in the actual market? Pretty consistent across the markets with the exception of St. Charles County. St. Charles County was the one aberration when we saw an increase in sales and an increase in prices that was pretty significant, but still inventory increased. So it was the only market where sales increased. The number one reason? New construction. There is significant new construction going on in the St. Charles market. So that's responsible for the increase in sales units year over year that increased over 11%. But it also was responsible for the increase in inventory that was up almost 34%. So a significant increase in active inventory with an increase in sales. Overall, though, expireds in the St. Charles market, they were 5 times greater than April of 24. So a lot more expireds came off the market. St. Louis County, active inventory increased 27%, while sales actually decreased 1%. It's not the responsibility of the new listings that came on the market because there was a bump up in new listings. But what's happened is the market in St. Louis County has just kind of flattened from a sales perspective. More sellers are putting their homes on the market, trying to either monetize those or sell in the spring market. But that's resulted in a lot more active inventory, not correlated sales. The good news, though, in St. Louis County was prices. They increased 6% from April of 25 to April of 24. And if you go all the way back to April of 2020, prices increased 30%. St. Louis City, common trend, inventory increased 14%. Sales, again, pretty consistent with previous months, decrease of 2%. Sales price increased 4%. And again, if you compare April of 25 to April of 2020, sales price increased 34% in the city. Jefferson County, active inventory actually decreased 11%. So a little bit different than the other 3 markets. And that was really a result of less homes coming on the market and a few more homes coming off the market. 3 times the amount of expired listings from April 25 versus April of 24. Again, consistent though, prices increased, and they increased almost 9% year over year. And when comparing April of 25 to April of 2020, they increased 46%. The solds decreased 5.5%. So I know it's a lot of data, but if you just look at it across the board, increase active inventory, decrease in sales units, increase in prices, and overall, we're seeing this trend across the board with a few aberrations as we discussed. So what am I looking at as we go into May? I think a lot of the same, meaning you're still going to have sellers getting on the market. They're hearing about the good news in the market, although the market's changing a little bit. We're seeing it changing nationally, like overnight. Naples, over 14 months of inventory, meaning if no new homes came on the market, based on the current inventory and how many sell-throughs on a month, It'd take 14 months to get rid of all the inventory. Now, what we're not seeing in Naples yet is a decrease in prices because there's sellers that are trying to be patient, but their patience is not going to ultimately work because the only thing to sell some of those homes is going to be price. So prices are going to have to come down. Nashville, we're seeing a similar trend as Florida. Arizona, similar trend as Florida. Texas, certain parts, similar trend. Why those markets versus St. Louis changing so much quicker? Because over the last 5 years, where our prices increased as we just went through 30, 40%, theirs 2x'd, theirs doubled, and in many cases tripled. So it went up fast, and now it's coming down fast. Overall, this is a market you just have to be patient. If you're a seller, you still have to prepare your home incredibly well. Most importantly, you have to price it right, because even trying to reprice it once you're on the market, 1, 2, 3 price adjustments may be needed to get that sold. One price adjustment in many cases is not getting the home sold. So you have to get that home on the market. You have to price it right, prepare it for sale, highest marketing level possible. Buyers, great opportunities. As we went through, inventory is increasing. There are some great homes in there that may be priced wrong, and those sellers are getting more realistic as days on market accrue. So there's some great buying opportunities. So it's an interesting market right now. We're going to pay attention to interest rates, inventory levels, sell-through, and prices. Any questions about buying, selling, investing, home valuations? Click on this link below.